Boom. Just got off of work. We gonna hit upper today. I got the Mike Tyson looking shirt on. But honestly, what do y'all think? Because I did the cutoff work myself. Now y'all can be honest. It does look kind of raggedy, but it's kind of tough. It's kind of tough though. But yeah, upper today. Without further ado, let's get straight into it. Yeah. Alright, you guys know the drill. This is the chest movement that I like to start off with for my upper days. And I do my hands in a neutral grip so I can target more of my upper chest region, because the arm path and hand position help align better with the chest fibers that run through your upper chest. Also, guys, if you are struggling to see progress on this movement, try tucking in your elbows, dropping the weight, because that'll help put more mechanical tension on the region that you're trying to bias rather than having flared elbows. Alright guys, second movement, we have the lat pull down wide grip. And as this clip kind of continues, you can kind of see that I don't really come to full lockout at the top of the movement to help keep tension on the lats. And honestly, the lats really just do not benefit from stretch mediated hypertrophy, so there's no reason to be going all the way up, as it takes tension off your lats and puts it more on your teres, major and minor. So just keep that in mind when you're doing your lat pull downs. You don't need to go all the way up. I mean, if you like going all the way up, it's perfectly fine. That's up to you. But the way I like it, I like to keep tension on my lats because it's that muscle that we're trying to target, right? So also, side note, you guys can see that I'm using a little bit more body movement in my second set. You guys don't have to do that. I personally like doing it just because it helps me engage the lats more throughout the whole movement. But obviously, if you guys try to do it excessively, it's not going to be good for your lats anymore, because you at that point you're just doing a different variation row if you're swaying too far back. And I don't think I've shown this in any previous videos, but I did want to do this because I felt like I had more reps in the tank. So I went to a close grip lat pull down and kind of just hit like a drop set there, like a mechanical drop set. You guys can do that if you want. Don't have to, not necessarily. As long as you take it to failure, you're fine. Also, guys, random little side note, I've literally started meal prepping like a lot more over the past like few weeks, and your boy's already down like 8 pounds, which is kind of like a blessing that I'm losing some weight, but also at the same time, your boy feels small. And I wish there was like a happy balance between both. Like I was just like swole and lean, but it's super hard, man. It's super hard, but we keep it pushing. All right, moving into our back exercise. I actually really have been liking this for the past couple of weeks, so I'm thinking about really incorporating it into my main split, or the split that I'm running right now, rather. And I just like how stable this is. I like how much work I get out of my back with this movement compared to other row variations. Now, this is obviously going to be a little bit more to set up than a traditional, like, seated row or chest supported row. You're going to have to, like, set the bench at a certain height and make sure your chest is kind of like above the bar, so that way you can work your back in that full range of motion. All right, I don't know if I've showed this before, but this is a tricep variation, tricep extension variation that I've been running for quite some time now. I like to do an overhead with my backside kind of stabilized against the bar there, and it just helps kind of remove any like momentum that I would be using throughout the movement if I were to just do it regularly. You can kind of see as I'm finishing overhead extension, I move into the standard position for tricep extension. So I like to incorporate both. And I guess you could kind of consider the one that is in the standard position more like a mechanical drop set, because I do get some more assistance from having the weight coming down rather than out in front of me. All right, rear delt flies on the pec deck machine. I actually really kind of like this just for the convenience, because normally when I do set up a rear delt fly, goodness gracious, rear delt fly, I'm setting it up at the cable machines. So I kind of just prefer this for convenience and just overall time, to be honest. Also, you can kind of see that my hands and wrists are over where you're supposed to keep your hands. I personally prefer this just because I get more work out of my rear delt doing that, and I definitely feel more tension in my rear delt as I'm doing it that way. But again, guys, you do not have to do that. I just like to incorporate it. Also, for here, we have the chest flies on the pec deck machine. You can kind of see that my arm path is kind of like a pressing motion rather than like a circle path, I guess you could say. It's because you're just going to benefit more from a pec deck, treating it kind of like a press in the bottom motion and then coming out for the top. And now moving on into my accessory out of my workout, which is the crunches. I forget, honestly, what this machine was called, but it's really goated. I would suggest doing it because it's very adjustable, very accommodating to people of a range of different sizes, and it also trains the actual function that your abs are responsible for, which is spinal flexion. This machine is very stable, also very easy to load, easy to progress. Overall, it's probably one of my favorite ab machines out there for sure. Also, random little side note, I do see a lot of people that will go to train their quote unquote abs and do leg raises. As long as you guys are doing spinal flexion under a load, it's going to train your abs. So just keep that in mind when you have your exercise selection. Me personally, I stopped doing leg raises because I wasn't really seeing much growth out of it. This machine is a really good example of forcing your spine into that flexion so you can get the use out of your abs. And now we're moving into some posing. I'm doing a voiceover for it because my mic did die. I will explain that later in the video. But anyways, some posing. I'm really thinking about doing some more cutoffs. I honestly might crash out and do some right now. Kind of feeling like it. But got a nice back double bi. Nice lat spread. Pump cover coming off. Oh my. Your boy's physique is getting a little better. Hopefully I'm able to really capitalize on this season in my life where I feel like I'm retaining a lot of the muscle in a caloric deficit. So we'll see. Stay tuned, guys. All right, boom. Post-session interview. We got the post-session eats. Give me a second, I'll show it. It was a pretty decent session overall, I'll say. I didn't feel as rested as I would have liked to be for the workout, but hopefully y'all enjoyed it. And I'm going to try to do a little better at showing the exercise and the form and all that and the muscles that you should be targeting for exercises. But honestly, what matters the most for getting your hypertrophy up is mechanical tension and your exercise selection. What is going to provide the most mechanical tension for the movement? It's not necessarily about how good of a stretch you get. Some exercises actually do, or some muscles rather, some muscles do benefit from stretch hypertrophy. For something like the lats on an upper day, well, lats in general, for something like the lats, you do not need to be worrying about getting a good stretch. For like lat pull downs, as you can see from the video, I came here, came down, came here, came down. Kind of keeping the lats engaged the whole time. I might have mentioned that in a previous video, but I just wanted to reiterate that because super important to understand the functions of the muscles that you're working so that way you can optimize how you work them out. So like the chest, for example, is going to be all shoulder adduction, horizontal shoulder adduction. So you're bringing your shoulder back to your midline. So I'm here, bringing my shoulder back to my midline. Or like a tricep extension, or triceps. It's elbow extension. Biceps, elbow flexion. So just keep that in mind, guys. Yeah, pretty good sesh, honestly. Trying to get off my tangents here. Trying to give y'all the breakdown. It was good. I'll walk y'all through it. My mic did die, and I had to save the last bit of it for the outro.
which is what we're doing now. I'll show you guys the eats in a second. Dude, we are kind of going crazy right now. I want to also stress that while I see a lot of propaganda on social media about like protein, protein, protein this, protein that, as long as you're within zero point 0.8 to 1 gram of body or gram 0.8 to 1 gram of protein per body weight, you should be good. And you should be learning how to maximize, or rather, you should be learning how to really incorporate good carbs into your diet. Because I forget who said this, but there was a saying, yesterday's nutrition is today's performance, or today's nutrition is tomorrow's performance, some along those lines. So you guys want to make sure that you guys are eating good sources of carbs and honestly just hitting your macros. That's the best advice that I can give for y'all. But when I do get my nutrition certification, I'll be able to break it a little bit, break it down a little bit more. But anyways, we're gonna get to the eats. I'll show y'all. Got my protein bagel, some cucumber, and imitation crab meat, and spinach / artichoke dip for a little bit of extra flavor. Only use only use 1 teaspoon or tablespoon rather. And if you guys don't already use this, bro, sriracha is low-key a cheat code, because this is like a really good sauce for 0 calories. Whereas like if you use mayo base, like this is a mayo base for example, but I really only use 1 tablespoon of that. Mayo bases for sauces or anything like really sugary can be high in calorie count and just pretty much empty calories. Also, I see a decent amount of people trying to lose weight and their go-to is like a salad. And that's perfectly fine, you know, for being conscious of your calorie intake, and it's a pretty good way to start off. But 2 things. The only way you're going to lose weight is being under your maintenance calories. And another is that a lot of people don't consider the sauces that they use, kind of touching on what I was earlier. A lot of people don't count the calories from the sauces that they use. Like the avocado lime ranch at Chick-fil-A, dude, that thing's like, I want to say it's roughly 300 calories for the pack. And listen, maybe you switch to like, shameless plug, switch to like a sriracha or like a hot sauce, because realistically these shouldn't have that many calories, if any at all. Like Texas Pete doesn't have any, sriracha doesn't have any. But try to be a little bit more conscious of like everything when you're doing your calorie counting. But gonna eat this. Cheers. Gonna go to church after I get ready, because I can't show up to church looking like this. But I love y'all. Jesus loves y'all. And I'll see y'all in the next one.